What's going on, y'all? Thank you so much for signing up for the additional M1 Finance training. If you are here, that means that you care about yourself, you care about your financial future. So, congrats on taking the next step. What I'm going to do here is actually walk you through one of my M1 Finance accounts as if I was starting this brand new so that you can see how to get it set up. How do you start investing? All right, if you haven't signed up for M1 Finance yet, go ahead and do so. Have a link in the description. Obviously, you'll have a link in the email. This is my affiliate link. So if you do sign up, thank you so much. I do get paid a small referral fee. And once again, M1 Finance did not pay me to do this, but I am a big fan of their platform. So that's why I am doing this. So, all right. So here is the M1 Finance homepage. So after you log in, so this is my other account that I set up. And initially, I think I just put $1,000 in here, and we can talk about that here in one sec. But once you get set up, so for here, basically you want to choose what account type do you want. So if we're gonna click an account, you can do individual, joint, retirement, trust account, custodial account. These are the different options. If you aren't married, you want to do an individual account. If you are married, I would highly suggest doing a joint account. You can do individual, which I have done. I've just let my wife know, hey, I've got these accounts, FYI. So here's all the username, password, login stuff. Retirement, if you are doing retirement, Roth IRA, traditional SEP, or any of those type of accounts, I would definitely highly suggest that you're working with some sort of tax professional that can walk you through it. Same thing with the trust account. So I initially did set up an individual account here. That's what you're seeing. And then I went ahead and set up a new individual account. I haven't funded it yet, but this is for the sake of this training. So once you do that, you're going to get this screen here. It's going to want you to verify your email address. So whatever email address that you entered in, it is going to be there. I went ahead and found the email. So this is actually it. So congrats, your account is open and ready to build. Thanks for choosing M1 Finance. So they're going to want me to fund my account, which we may or may not do. I'll see if I have to do that. But let's go back to the account here. So verify, but let's go ahead and choose our securities. So building our portfolio. This is the investment pie. This is what M1 Finance is all about. This is what I talked about in the video that you probably watched on YouTube or listened to on the podcast. So choosing the securities. So this is where we are building our pie. All right, I want to make sure that you can see this, see my screen. I need to, yeah. So this whole search bar, I mean, this is a big thing. I mean, here you can see total results. You've got 3,889 different possibilities, but these are for stocks. You can also do funds, which are, these are your ETFs. And then there you've got over 1,800 different options there. If you had set up any pies, you'd have your pies here, and then you have the expert pies, and then a watch list if there's anything that you want to watch. So let's say that you want to build your own pie. And they already give you some suggestions right here. So if you want, let's say you want a little bit of Apple, you like Google, maybe, you got to have some Amazon, also some Tesla. Maybe you want some Facebook or Meta, some Visa. Maybe you also do some MasterCard because you like them all. And we want to just go ahead and add those. So we are building our own pie. So this little pop-up, this is basically a little helper in case you need help whenever you're walking through the process. We'll go ahead and close that. And now you can see, here is your pie. So we've got Apple, Alphabet, Amazon, Tesla, Facebook, Visa, and MasterCard. And let's go ahead and, you don't have to name the portfolio, but if you end up creating more pies, it is suggested. So let's go ahead and say pie number 1. And this is investing for me. Not original at all. That's what I could come up with on the moment. All right, so we got the name. If you want to give a description, you can. It's optional. Don't have to do this. But now you can see it is almost equally weighted. So it is a total of 100%. And I'm going to go ahead and make sure that you can see the screen here. Yeah, I'll make it a little bit bigger so you can see. There we go. All right. So it's showing you've got 100 of 100%. So you got 15% in Apple, 15% Alphabet. Basically, most these two are 15. Everything else is 14. But let's say you really like Tesla, so you want 20% to go into Tesla. And now you're going to see, okay, remove 6% of the total 100. So you've got to remove 6% elsewhere. So, all right, we like MasterCard, but not that much. We're going to knock that down to 10%. And we're going to knock down Alphabet or Google down to 13. And there we are at 100. All right, so let's go ahead and hit save. And we have just created our first investment pie. So whenever we would invest, like that is where our money would go, and that is how it would be split up into those percentages. But let's say, and actually, let me go back. You can see my other account, so you can see how that is done. So here, I set this up with Apple going 20%, Alphabet 20%, Google 20%, Facebook, Amazon. If you haven't guessed this yet, this is the FANG stocks. So you got Facebook, Amazon, Netflix, and FANG, Apple, Amazon, and Netflix, and then also Google. So basically, I just did a 20% into each, put money in, and then you can see the percentage. This is what you'll start to see, how each is doing. Now, if I wanted to do a rebalance, I could. And I talked about this in the other tutorial, but I'll go ahead and it's worth saying again. So let me show you. If I went to do rebalance, if I hit confirm, so this would happen the next day, but basically what's going to happen is, like right now, Apple represents 34% of the portfolio when it's supposed to be 20. Google represents just about 20. Facebook's a little bit less. Amazon's a little bit less. Netflix also a little bit less. And why is that? It's because that has it done the best? Yeah. So Apple, I should have did the FANGed stocks and added Tesla here, but Apple is up 288%. Alphabet's up 150. Facebook's up 118, Amazon 77, and then Netflix is 71. So for those that have had a portfolio over time, like this is just what happens, right? You're going to have stocks that are overperforming or doing really well, and then you have others that were maybe underperforming or just maybe they're doing really good, but Apple in this instance has just outperformed the other four. So it has grown the most. So now, it represents a larger portion of the entire portfolio. So when you look at the current holdings, so right now, of this portfolio, I've got $2,800. So as you can see, Apple is $973 of that 2,800. But why would you want to rebalance? Well, if you don't like Apple, or if you think that Apple now has kind of reached its peak and there isn't a lot of growth potential there, but maybe you still like it, you want to hang on to it, but you would rather see that you think Facebook's got more room to grow, maybe you think Amazon's got more room to grow, so then you could shave off some of that gain, lock in some of that gain, and move it towards another stock that you think also has that potential to gain more. But since this is in an individual account, you are basically selling off some shares, moving that to another stock, and you're going to have to pay capital gains. Is that short-term capital gains? Is that long-term? Preferably long-term, so that you are capped on how much you have to pay. Short-term means that you have to basically pay whatever your tax bracket, whatever your tax rate is. So that is, once again, working with a tax professional, make sure that you understand what you are doing before you do it. All right, so that's what you need to know about rebalancing at this time. Now, if you actually want to make some changes to your portfolio, so I'm going to go back. Here's my portfolio once again, and I want to hit edit. And now, like for me, like if I wanted to change the percentages here, let's say I don't want 20% on Amazon. I want to decrease that down to 15. If I do that, as you can see, I got to add 5% somewhere else. So that could be Apple. That's something that you can do. I don't want to do that. I want to keep that there for now. But also, if you want to add additional slices to your portfolio, you would just hit this button, add a slice. So select that. And let's say like, oh, yep, definitely want to add Tesla. Wish I would have done that. Oh, I like Warren Buffett. Add some Berkshire Hathaway. And also let's just add some Visa. So here's the 3 stocks at, can't see, let me reduce this. So you can see them at the bottom here. So that's showing that I'm going to add them. And then I just hit add. All right, so they have been added. Now let me increase my screen so you can see. Ooh, all right, about right there. Okay, so you can see the 3 stocks that have been added, and I want Tesla to be 10%. And Berkshire, I like it, but not too much, 5%, and Visa also gonna be 5%. So now I'm 20% overweighted on the entire portfolio, so I need to reduce some of these holdings. So that would be, let's say Apple. Let's just take it all from Apple. So Apple's going down to 10. So I need another 10. All right, so now, great. I've added some slices. If I did want to do this, I would then just hit save, and it would start to happen. Once again, though, if you are doing this, if I'm taking position or percentages away from one of these other stocks, that means I have to sell off some of my shares. So this is another taxable event. So once again, be aware that anytime you make these changes, this is a taxable event. Unless you have opened up a Roth IRA or a traditional IRA, then it doesn't matter. But any sort of taxable account, an individual, a joint account, it's going to be taxable. Okay, so we're not going to do this. So changes will not be saved. Yes, we do not want to save. Confirm. Great. All right, let's go back there. So I want to show you something else. This is kind of cool. All right, so we got, here's the 5 stocks once again. We talked about adding slices. So this is, its own big investment pie. But what if you want to create another pie? Like, what is going on here? So try to explain this is, so if you had, let's say you're trying to create like a mutual fund does or an ETF would do, and you're trying to create these different buckets where like, hey, I want to create like a mutual fund where I have financial stocks, in one pie, and then I'm going to create another pie of technology stocks, create another pie in bank stocks or financial stocks. You can do that. So what does that look like? Well, let's go back. All right, so if I wanted to create a pie, and let's say that I wanted to do a dividend pie. So create a pie, we're gonna call this the dividend pie, add it, yay. All right, so it's created this pie, which almost looks like another slice, right? Which it is technically. So you got 20, 20, 20, and then 1. But here's the difference is that in this pie, so I'm going to click on that. I have no slices in this pie. So I'm going to add slices. And now I want to focus on, I said, let's do bank stocks typically. Actually, I'm just going to pick some stocks that I know that are in the dividend aristocrat. So Target, I'm going to pick out Target, add to the basket. Boom. All right. Who else? Let's see. Let's do Lowe's. Yeah, that's another good dividend payer. All right, add to the basket. Boom. I think Walgreens was another one that's in. There it is. Boom, Walgreens. Add to the basket. Okay, so now these are added in your new pie, which is a slice within your big pie. So you don't want to hit exit. You just go back to your portfolio. So once again, I want to show you this before I go back. You got Target, Lowe's, Walgreens. They represent 33, 33, and 34%, right? Okay, but we go back. So now you can see the dividend pie. This is what we created, which is a slice in your big investment portfolio, your big investment pie. So right now, we have 1% of our entire portfolio that's going to this dividend pie, which then owns these 3 stocks. So if you had, I don't know, like $1,000, only 1% is going to this pie, which then these companies are basically getting 1/3 of that 1%. I hope that makes sense. But that way, this allows you, if you want to create like just different buckets of different stocks or securities, or if you want to do, certain types of ETFs, basically you can get crazy with it, but this is how you really can create a diversified portfolio. All right, the last thing that I wanted to show you, I think one of the last things, I'm going to once again go back to my portfolio here. We're going to hit edit. So I've cleared out a lot of those other slices and pies. Now, the other thing we've talked about is that if you don't feel comfortable building your own, that M1 Finance has their own expert pies. But let's say that you want to do that, but you also want to put some like in Tesla or Facebook or one of the stocks that you see here. So let's go ahead and add a slice, and then going back, I'll make sure you can see this on the screen. You can. So you have stocks, funds, my pies, expert pies. Okay. So I'm just going to pick one. Let's go with income earners. So we'll click on that one, and you want this global dividend pie. Just going to click on it. You can read, you can click on it. You can read about it. You can see the holdings, everything matches up. You're like, yeah, okay, this looks good. So add that to the basket. Okay, so that is currently added. Click add here at the bottom, boom. Now you have the 5 stocks that you've picked. So let's say that you don't, like you want to do individual stocks, but you don't trust yourself yet. You'd rather do like a good chunk, say 80%. in this one, and then you would just then reduce obviously all these to much lower amounts. I don't have to finish this out, but I think you get the idea. That one. Let's do 5. All right, so just get that one there. So now we are 100%, right? So if you put $1,000 in, you got 3% going into Apple, 8% of that going into Facebook, so on and so forth. And then 80%, a majority going into this global dividend expert pie. And if you want to know, show the holdings, no, I'd have to click on it. But so you saw the holdings. So it does show you there are 5 ETFs, which we just saw on the previous screen. So that way, like if you don't trust yourself to put, to build your own custom pie and you want to use an expert, you can do it this way. If you want to build a portfolio that has 5 different expert pies, you could create another slice. Actually, let's go ahead and do that. Go back to expert pies and all right, you did the income earners, but you want to do hedge fund. You want to be a little bit risky. All right, Berkshire Hathaway, Carl Icahn. Let's just choose him. Just like familiar with him and his arbitrage. So then we can see once again, here's the holdings. It's got 13 different stocks that he owns. So here's the different companies that you can see that is in there. And we're going to add. So now we've got the global dividend, 80%, Icahn Capital at 1. But so we'll take this one down to 70. And all right, we need to add 9%. So we'll add 9 here. So we'll make this 10. And now you've got 2 different expert pies and the rest in these individual stocks. So in these, you got 5 holdings here, 13 holdings here, and then these stocks as well. Like this is how you can continue to keep growing this thing, branching it out and just creating all these different pies. If you want to get a little exposure to this market, if you like this strategy, you don't trust yourself, the list goes on and on what you can do. All right, let's go over just a few other housekeeping items in regards to M1 Finance. You'll notice here, you do have this auto invest. Now, typically, if you are adding new money to this, it just depends on if you want to have this on or off. I usually have this off, but I haven't added new money to this account in a while. That's why it actually was turned on. But basically what this says is that anytime, like if you are doing a dollar cost average, where like you're automatically putting in $100 a month, $200 a month, whatever that amount is, do you want that to sit in cash? So you can actually list out like, hey, I always want to keep, say, $200 in cash. So that will always stay true. And then auto invest basically just says that any new money that hits your account it's automatically going to invest into the investment pies that you have created. Like that is one thing that you can do. Or if you want to have more control in that for some reason that you just think that you can time it better. So you want money to start accumulating, but you don't want to buy until you think is the time to get in. Or if you just want to like start saving 200, like whatever amount that you want to save per month, and you're building that up because you want to add a new slice when it hits a certain dollar amount, that would be another reason to have the auto invest off as well. So it just depends on, think of it like if you had a 401k that you were adding money to every single paycheck, like probably you have your auto invest on, all the money going in automatically goes invested. And if those are the investments that that you want, like if you have like if you built these expert pies and you feel like you're diversified, then chances are that's better just having auto invest on so that you don't have to think about it. You don't forget about it. And that is just dollar cost averaging, also out of sight, out of mind. If you have other plans, other goals with that, then you would turn that off. Then you'd have to come log in and manually make those purchases. All right. So that is just some other housekeeping items, but here's just to show you a little bit. Once again, probably should have did this at the beginning, but like, just seeing some of the activity on your account, you can see, all right, here's all the dividends that have been paid. Here's when Apple did a stock split back in August 31st. Awesome. Great. Here is the current holdings, gives you a cost basis. So this is basically how much, this is the $1,000 that I put into the account, plus probably any dividends that have paid. So my basis, like my cost in these stocks is $1,180. The total value at the time of this recording is $2,827. So I have an unrealized gain of 1646, or a percentage of 139% return. And then that breaks down each individual stock, where it is, what I purchased at, the cost basis, unrealized gain, the current value, just, anything that you expect to get from any sort of investment platform that's going to give you information you need, whether you want to do the rebalance, where you want to lock in a gain, or you just want to see, oh man, I bought it back then. How much am I up? And you can see that and get excited every time you see it. I know that I do. I love logging in, seeing that I'm up 139%. Like that's always fun. So I hope you can see that M1 Finance is an easy platform to use. I will say, like the investment pies in the beginning, it took a second to kind of understand how they were doing, especially when you could create the pies as its own slice as a part of the bigger investment portfolio, investment slices like that. It got a little confusing, but then like once I just played with it, and I don't know if I showed this in this video, but if you start creating something that you're like, oh crap, I don't know if I'm doing this right. You have to go through this process to confirm before it actually happens. So don't think that if you start something that until you hit confirm, like nothing's going to happen. And also they do have a support that you can contact to ask them questions. I have never used it, so I don't know how great or how responsive they are. I have to assume that they will get back to you pretty quickly. I mean, if there's anything here that you're trying to do that needs to happen immediately, like M1 Finance is not the type of day trading platform where like you're trying to execute trades like on the second. This is not the platform for that. So this is more for, hey, this is like longer term building portfolios, letting the dividends pay, seeing wealth grow over time, whether that be in a joint account, individual, Roth IRA, or in my case, like I said, I've got an individual account and I have the trust, which is a 401k account. I mean, the fact they offer that, I'm still blown away that M1 Finance offers that, which they do. And I can only see them expanding more. They have the spend, the borrow, if you want to take out loans, it's endless. And I'm only assuming they're going to add other products and services to make your financial life that much easier. They want to become that one-stop shop. So, and right now I love it. What I've been showing you this entire time is the desktop version. The app is just as easy to use. I love it as well. It's super easy, super user-friendly. And I assure you, if this is your first time investing, you're going to love it. You're going to love the knowledge that you gain, the confidence that you gain, and you're going to start building your wealth one day at a time. All right, y'all, really appreciate you signing up for this training. If there's any other questions, I leave a comment, or you can shoot an email to my support, jeff.rose@goodfinancialsense.com. That will go to my team, and they will direct that to me if that's a question that I can answer, or they might be able to answer on their own, depending on what that question is. All right, y'all. Once again, thank you so much. Hope this was helpful. Until next time, peace.